October has been a doozy, girl, and I don't know how we got through 18 books, but we did it. What up, Search fam? Sade here. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new, my name is Sade. I'm out here curating and co-creating a cool ass life, and it's time to tell you about all of the books I read in the month of October. Now, according to the story graph, I read 18 books this month. How? I am really not sure, because October has been a doozy, girl, and I don't know how we got through 18 books, but we did it. And I still don't quite believe it. It's probably because I'm taking in more audiobooks than usual. Now, whether this is your first time coming across me on this corner of the internet, or you keep coming back and you haven't joined my internet family, maybe you should hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and be made aware of every time I post a new video, which is usually on the weekends. Okay, so you know how this goes at this point if you've been around for a minute. I got the physical trophies, which this month do not actually reflect the physical books I've read, because I haven't really been reading physical books this month. It's been a rough month for me in terms of like reading digital books and physical books, and then I had a whole snafu with my Kindle child, and it was just too much. But here we are, and God is still good. All right, now if you see me looking over, I'm looking at my handy dandy iPad, which hosts the story graph with all of the things that we need. I'm going to try to do this like I usually do. Trophies first, then we'll dive into the audio and the digital books. Now, the only book that I finished this month that was a physical book was Paradise by Toni Morrison. And y'all gotta forgive me, because this is the schoolhouse copy, you know, because I was reading it because my students are reading it this semester for my Black religion and Black fem lit class. So I read Paradise, which is one of my favorite of Morrison's books, and I did this as both physical and audio book because Toni Morrison reads the audiobook, and period. You're not going to get me to not want to listen to Toni Morrison read to me. But this is a novel about an all-black town in Mississippi. Not in Mississippi. This is about an all-black town in Oklahoma at the 1970s, and the town has been in existence for decades as a free black town. But they've got a lot going on as far as like how religion and their sort of like parochial view of the world are at odds with the rapidly changing climate. Now, the sort of patriarchal quality of the town makes it hard because there is a convent of women who are very strange, and they become the object of the sort of building tension in the town, and the men take it out on the convent women because they literally are outside of the community, both in a sort of physical sense of the convent, but also in terms of values, way of living, and things like that. It's a fantastic book. It's a difficult book. My students are working through it now, and they're like, yeah, it's hard. It's because it's kind of dense. Toni Morrison prose is very in depth, and it takes a minute to take it in. So, and I've been trying to like work them up to that all semester and like trying to get them prepared for it. But they do seem to be enjoying it, and I enjoy this book. As per usual, I want to read you all the first pages, or not the first page, but the first couple of sentences. The first paragraph, because this gives you a sense of just like how Toni Morrison draws you in. They shoot the white girl first. With the rest, they can take their time. No need to hurry out here. They are 17 miles from a town which has 90 miles between it and any other. Hiding places will be plentiful in the convent, but there is time and the day has just begun. So good. Toni Morrison is required reading. I would suggest that if you do have trouble getting into books, that you might do the audiobook, because it probably will be a little bit more palatable for you to be able to take it in. But you have to read it. It's so good. I reread The Fake Boyfriend Fiasco this month, and I did it as the audiobook, even though I own the physical book, because I actually love the audio readers, and they were just so good. And this is a quick read. It's quickly become a comfort read. And I'm not gonna talk about that again because I've read it before, and I'll put one of my other videos where I talk a little bit more in depth about the fake boyfriend fiasco. At this point, we know this is one of my favorite books of the year. I also finally did Marriage and Masti by Nisa Sharma, and I got the physical book from the library, but I did the audiobook, and the audiobook was grand. It was a grand old time. So this is the third book in If Shakespeare Was an Auntie, and it is a 12th night retelling where Vera is fired from her job at her family's company, I think she's in finance. She and her twin sister get fired when a merger happens with their company and Deepak's family's company, which is a entertainment type of business. And so Deepak gets broken up with by his girlfriend, who he's supposed to be marrying, or fiance, because it's sort of like a business arranged marriage. And she's an influencer, so she does it on the interwebs, and it's messing with the church's money. Okay, Deepak is up for CEO, and now they're questioning him because he done got broke up with in such a public way. So Deepak goes to help Vera out because she and her sister are traveling, and they get stuck in a yacht wreck. And so he goes to Goa to bring them back because they don't have no money, they ain't got a passport, like they lost everything. And Deepak and Vera, after a drunken night of celebrating, end up getting married. And they are besties, like, so this is best friends to lovers. And Vera been loved Deepak real bad, and Deepak being a man, he didn't realize how much he loved her until she wasn't around, and now they married, and now he's like, well, wait a minute, I'm not mad at this. So they stay fake married to try to get Vera back a job with the company and to get Deepak into the CEO position. Oh, and her daddy, Vera's daddy, is a villain. He need his ass whooped. That's all I'm gonna say. Okay, I also reread Xeni by Rebekah Weatherspoon, and as you know, this is also a book I love because I own it. But I did the audiobook for this as well because sometimes I like to see how the readers do, and I was not disappointed. Okay, especially the reader that did Mason, because Mason is Scottish. Anywhere, girl. Yes, so that was a great time. We enjoyed ourselves. That's another one. I'm not going to go into the synopsis for the book because I've done that elsewhere. I'll put it in an info card. Don't you worry. I also did, as a physical book, Wild Seed by Octavia Butler. This was a reread for me as well because, again, my students have read it. And this is the first book in the Patternist series by Octavia Butler, where you have these two sort of primordial beings, Anyanwu, who's about 300 years old, and she shapeshifts. Is come up on by Doro, who's this, we don't know what kind of being he is, but he swaps bodies, right? Like Invasion of the Body Snatchers type deal. Like his spirit or whatever jumps from one body to another, essentially killing the person. And then he stays in the body until it starts to wear down and decay, which is like, who knows, a few months, I don't know, not very long. And so Doro is looking for people with special abilities so that he could do this breeding program all by himself, to breed people with extrasensory abilities. And he wants Anyanwu because she not only can shapeshift into anything, human, animal, don't matter, but she also knows her body enough that she like can fix things within her body, including like keeping herself from getting pregnant. And so he pretty much chases her from here to yonder throughout the book. And she's called Wild Seed because he really can't control her for real. The only ways that he has been able to control her is through her empathy, because she is a mother and she is a healer. Like, she's a mother, okay? She loves people and her children and things like that. And that is the only way sometimes that he can keep her under lock, is because she worries about what he's going to do to her kids and her descendants or whatever. And it's sort of charged through the transatlantic slave trade through the first book. It's fantastic. It's one of my favorite books in general. I love Octavia Butler, and y'all know how I feel. But so yes, that's a definite read. I also read New World of Coming, and I did this as a PDF because I read it for an event that my department was hosting, and this is by Judith Weisenfeld. This is talking about Black religion and racial identity during the Great Migration. So Weisenfeld is charting how what would be considered new religious movements in the early 20th century, Black new religious movements in 20th century, how they bring religion into sort of new purviews, as well as cause like these spatial communities to come up at the Great Migration. So we're talking about things like the Nation of Islam, things like More Science Temple, Father Divine's Peace Mission, all of these things, how they are interacting with the churches and such, as well as creating opportunities for Black people to understand themselves in different ways in that migratory period, which is like 1900, 1910 to like 1940s, 50s, where Black people from the South and newly emancipated people, descendants of emancipated people, are migrating to the North, to these industrial cities for opportunities at a better life. It was great. I thought it was good. I also got to meet Dr. Weisenfeld, which was amazing. Very fangirl, you know, it was a great time. But I would say, as usual, when I share with you all academic books that I'm reading, that if you're into it, I would say read it, but I know that's not everybody's jam. And like when we talk about scholarly books, they tend to be a little bit more dense, but I think you should try it anyway. It was really good. I also did, as a digital book, Loving a Vampire's Total Chaos by R. Hayes. I had such a great time. It was hysterical because you have Celine, who is a detective for, it might be like Seattle or Minneapolis, or no, it's Chicago. It's one of the cities where it get cold. And she is investigating, she's put on an investigation for a serial killer who kills men who are horrid anyway, but the scenes are very gruesome. And it's this vampire, Xavier, who he's unhinged, absolutely unhinged. I'm not even gonna hold you. But also he like whiffs Celine at one of the scenes of his crimes. And he's like, ooh, mate. So like he pretty much stalks her. He accidentally kills her across the way neighbor, and then takes up residence, flew out to get his apartment to get close to her, and like all the things. And it's a wild time, but it was so funny. I had a great time. It's kind of spicy. I would say it's probably like 2.5 to 3 chili peppers for me. But so it was a great time. I also did, as a digital book, The Risk, which is the first novella in the Mindfuck series by S.T. Abbey. And because my friend Jackie has been like, everybody needs to read this. This is one of my favorite books of all time. And I'm like, okay, girl, I finally did it. And it was good. I like the trajectory of the first book. It doesn't center on romance. It centers on female rage and how the main character, whose name I don't remember right now, she is a serial killer, but she only kills like men who do harm to women. And she ends up flirting with, starting to go on dates with the detective who's looking for the serial killer. But the thing is, of course, they think the serial killer's a man. But the way she does it, we know that this is not giving man. So the first book is kind of starting to unpack that, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that it is about the plot and her and him, and then the romance is sort of a secondary thing, and the spice is like, it's not too spicy to me. It was probably like 2 maybe, because there is sexual activity happening, but it's not the focus of the story. For audiobooks, the rest of the audiobooks that I did. I also did The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert. And this has been on my list for a while. I also did this as the audiobook because I am just really into multicast books, and it was a fantastic time. This is about Jasmine and Raul, who are friends. They become friends in college, in uni, and they stay friends their lives. Jasmine has an emergency where her room gets flooded and goes to live with Raul, and Raul done loved her since they met. And Jasmine has some really serious and severe mommy issues, abandonment and things like that. So she doesn't get into anything serious. And so we are in their story of Raul trying not to scare her, but also being like, ooh, you in my house and I like having you here. And they're slowly like become friends with benefits. And he's like, okay, I'm going to let this happen, even though I want more. Like the pining. My God, today the pining, it's so good. But also Jasmine being so skittish about commitment and messing other people up because of her own issues and things like that. So Talia Hibbert knows how to, one, write a man, and two, write these scenarios that are deeply human. And so I thought it was a great time. I enjoyed it very much. I also did Model Home by River Solomon as an audiobook. And it was so good. Oh, it was so good. I probably will do a longer review of it because it talks about, through the lens of horror, how homes and spaces haunt people, because it's the memories and the experience of Ezri, who is a non-binary character in a fat body who's dealing with having to come home to her house after her parents have committed a murder-suicide, and her sisters dealing with potentially having to go back to their home, which they think is haunted and has haunted them forever. And it's also tied to Ezri's identity as someone who is in a bigger body, who is non-binary and all the things. But it's also a deep interrogation of race and Black people being in white neighborhoods and things like that. It was so good. Oh, it was so good and disturbing. And the plot twist, girl. Ooh, child. I was in Buffalo when I was reading it, and I was just like, this raggedy hoe! Like, I was screaming. So it was excellent book. Definite pickup for me. I started the Broken Bloodline series by Sadie Kincaid, which is Forged in Blood, because one of my hyperfixations for the last month or so has been vampires. So this is the first book in a dark romance where the main character, who is like 19, gets admission to this special college, and to get her trust, which we don't know how she gets it because she's an orphan, if I remember correctly. And she goes there, but she's like, I don't have any gifts or abilities. Come to find out, she's like this special being that ain't supposed to exist because they were all eradicated by the vampires. And so she catches the eye of one of the professors who's a vampire and has three vampires that he sired. And he tells them